Okay, so I'm going to start this off with a little reading of what the wise man is as we move into the heavenly realms and how one might accomplish getting to the heavenly realms. So this is from the Majjhima Nikaya, 120, Suta 129, and it's section 27. This is called the wise man. Bhikkhus, there are these three characteristics of a wise man, signs of a wise man, attributes of a wise man. What three? Here, a wise man is one who thinks good thoughts, speaks good words, and does good deeds. If a wise man were not so, how would the wise know him thus? This person is a wise man. Is he a true man? But because a wise man is one who thinks good thoughts, speaks good words, and does good deeds, the wise know him thus. This person is a wise man, a true man. A wise man feels pleasure and joy here and now in three ways. If a wise man is seated in an assembly or along a street or in a square and people there are discussing certain pertinent and relevant matters, then if the wise man is one who abstains from killing living beings, from taking what is not given, from misconduct and sensual pleasures, from false speech, from wine, liquor, and intoxicants, which are the basis of negligence, he thinks, these people are discussing certain pertinent and relevant matters. These things are not found in me, and I am not seen engaging in them. This is the first kind of pleasure and joy that a wise man feels here and now. Again, when a robber culprit is caught, a wise man sees kings having many kinds of torture inflicted on him. Then the wise man thinks, because of such evil actions as those, when a robber culprit is caught, kings have many kinds of tortures inflicted on him. Those things are not found in me, and I am not seen engaging in those things. This is the second kind of pleasure and joy that a wise man feels here and now. Again, when a wise man is on his chair or on his bed or resting on the ground, then the good actions that he did in the past, his good bodily, verbal, and mental conduct, cover him, overspread him, and envelop him. Just as the shadow of a great mountain peak in the evening covers, overspreads, and envelopes the earth, so too, when a wise man is on his chair or on his bed or on a resting ground, then the good actions that he did in the past, his good bodily, verbal, and mental conduct, cover him, overspread him, and envelop him. Then the wise man thinks, I have not done what is evil. I have not done what is cruel. I have not done what is wicked. I have not done what is good. I have done what is wholesome. I have made myself a shelter from anguish. When I pass away, I shall go to the destination of those who have not done what is evil, who have made themselves a shelter from anguish. He does not sorrow, grieve, and lament. He does not weep, beating his breast and become distraught. This is the third kind of pleasure and joy that a wise man feels here and now. A wise man who has given himself over to good conduct of body, speech, and mind on the dissolution of the body after death reappears in a happy destination, even in heaven. 47. Then, taking a small stone, the size of his hand, the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus, what do you think, bhikkhus? Which is greater, this small stone that I have taken, the size of my hand, or Himalaya, the king of the mountains? Venerable sir, the small stone that the Blessed One has taken, the size of his hand, does not count beside Himalaya, the king of the mountains. It is not even a fraction. There is no comparison. So too, bhikkhus, the pleasure and joy that a wheel-turning monarch would experience because of possessing the 7 treasures and the 4 kinds of success does not count beside the happiness of heaven. It is not even a fraction. There is no comparison. If sometime or other at the end of a long period, the wise man comes back to the human state, it is in a high family that he is reborn, into a family of well-to-do nobles, or well-to-do Brahmins, or well-to-do householders, one that is rich, of great wealth, of great possessions, with abundant gold and silver, with abundant and means, the abundant money and grain. He is handsome, comely, and graceful, possessing the supreme beauty of complexion. He obtains food and drink, clothes, vehicles, garlands, scents, and unguents, bed, lodging, and light. He conducts himself well in body, speech, and mind, and having done so on the dissolution of the body after death, he reappears in a happy destination, even in the heavenly world. Bhikkhus, suppose a gambler at the very first lucky throw won a great fortune, yet a lucky throw such as that is negligible. It is a far more lucky throw when a wise man who conducts himself well in body, speech, and mind on the dissolution of the body after death reappears in a happy destination, even in the heavenly world. This is the complete perfection of the wise man's grade. This is what the Blessed One said. The bhikkhus were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So that is the Wise Man's Sutta. All right, so let's talk about now what are these heavenly realms. Above the earthly realm, there are the 6 sensuous heavens, or the Devalokas. And I'm pretty sure that most of you are fairly aware of devas and realms, and they're situated above the earth, except for the first two lower heavens. The rest are too far away to have any close connection with the earth. Now, where these things are, if you look at the idea of cosmos from the Buddhist perspective, there is this great mountain, Mount Sinuru, and we are there's this mountain, and around it there are continents, and we are on one of these continents. It's called Jambudvipa, and Jambudvipa back then was considered India. Now, of course, there's a lot more than just India that we've found out that we're here. But this great mountain is surrounded by the human realms. Now, as you go up this mountain, there is the Deva locus. The first one is the Katumaharajika, or the 4 great kings. This is the lowest of the heavenly realms, where the 4 guardian deities reside with their followers. These 4 great kings protect the 4 quarters of the world and are Datarata, king of the east, sovereign lord of the Gandhabas, heavenly musicians, Rula, king of the south, where the Petas reside, sovereign lord of Kubanas, the deformed Asuras, Virupaka, king of the west, sovereign lord of the Nagas, and Kuvera, also called Vesavana, king of the north and sovereign lord of the Yakas, ogres or genies. Now, the creatures that you've heard of already, Naga, which actually they live below the mountain, below in the great ocean that surrounds the mountain. And the Nagas are beings that they are considered devas because they have many powers and they live in a world beneath the ocean that has a great many sensual pleasures and is a beautiful realm. It's just just a little bit different than the heavenly realms. Then there is the Yakas and the Petas. Now, the Petas and Yakas are really hellish creatures, but they reside in these realms along with the 4 great kings. The 4 great kings are above us, about halfway up the mountain, and they come down to earth all the time. Now, the one that you've probably heard the most of is the Tavatimsa, and Tavatimsa meaning 33, the heaven of the 33. This is the next higher heaven where Saka, king of gods, resides. The original residents were the Asura Devas, but they were driven away by the 33 new Devas led by Saka, who did not want to share the kingdom with the Asuras, who were addicted to drinking, hence the name Tavatimsa. So let's see if I can tell you the story here. Yeah. So the story is the Tavatimsa is located at the top of Mount Sinuru. Mount Sinuru is about 500 yojanas high, meaning it's something like, I don't know, 10,000 miles high. It's a very big mountain. At the very top is the heaven of the 33. Now, Sakka at the beginning came along and found all asuras up there. Asuras are devas, but they're really nasty devas. They're always fighting or drinking, and he didn't want them there. And so he actually gave them some strong drink that produced, and then he took by the feet and threw them down the mountain. And that's the way that they all ended up at the very bottom of the ocean, living in a realm at the bottom. Now, these Asuras weren't happy about that, but when they're in this realm, they don't even know that they're not at the top of the mountain because it's almost exactly the same. However, there is a plant there that is not found at the top of the mountain, and it has certain blooms on it. I don't recall the name. But at the top of Tavatimsa, there's another plant there, and it has certain blooms. But when they look at this plant where they are at the bottom, they realize that they're in the lower realms and they were thrown off the mountain. And this makes them really mad. And so they go running back up the mountain and they go fight with Sakka. And they really fight with them. But Sakka is protected by a lot of different beings. The Yakas, his retinue that is with him, they have huge walls, so they can never really get at them. But then every now and then Sakka runs down and he goes to war with them as well. So these are beings that got to the heavenly realms, but they're not free of hatred or any of the hindrances, but they did great merit to get there. They gave gifts, they did some things, but inside them, the fetters are still there. So when this sort of thing happens, they get mad and they do all these crazy things. It's quite a story. So Sakka plays a huge part in the Buddhist suttas. He's always intervening. Something bad, the Buddha comes down and takes care of it, or he listens to the talks. Or Sakka is considered. There's always a Sakka, just like there are always Buddhas. It's almost considered a title. The Sakka lives for some length of time, and then when he passes away, another being takes over that place because of their merit. Having read, let me grab this book. Again, okay, let's see. If you want a lot of information, let's see if I can get this without the green screen getting in the way. Okay, there. The Buddhist cosmos. And the mountain is the picture there. Yeah, okay, you just see the screen. Okay. So the book is The Buddhist Cosmos, a comprehensive survey of the early Buddhist worldview according to Theravada and Sarvastivada sources by Punyadhammo Mahathero. And he actually lives in Canada at the Arrow River Forest Hermitage in Canada. It's a great book. I suggest you get it and read the entire thing. Ajahn Punyadhammo. It's got every kind of story, all this background. I could be sitting here talking for hours, but we'll move on. Okay, so the third realm is Yama, heaven of the Yama gods. This is a realm of great happiness presided by the divine king Suyama or Yama. The Yama gods are different from Yama, Raja of hell, who is whatever, peta, a deva for half a month and a peta the other half month. There's yamas in the hell realms, and one of them is the chief. And this hell realm deva is called the Raja of Hell. And he is actually a hell realm being, a peta, for 1 month, for half a month, and then a deva the other half due to some sort of merit that he's done or demerit. He has to suffer for a half month, and then he is in heavenly realm for another half a month. You'll find this common theme. They'll have 7 days and 7 days in a heavenly realm, depending on their merit and what they've done karmically. The Yama realm is above the mountain, far above the mountain. That means they're not connected to the human realm. They rarely would come here. They have their own realm, and it's much happier there. There's no fighting. There's no asuras running up and down. There's no walls. Above that is the Tusita realm, which you might have heard of. This is the heaven of delight. This is the heaven where the Bodhisattva Maitreya is believed to be dwelling, waiting for the opportune time to be reborn as a human being and become the next Buddha. This is where all Buddhas reside before they become Buddhas. And the lifespan there is something around 600 million years. We'll get into lifespans. So he's going to be there quite a long time before he becomes a Buddha and comes back here. So above that, there is the Nimarati realm, gods who enjoy their own creations. This is the realm of devas who have the power to create objects of sensual pleasure at will according to their desires. So if they want a chariot or anything at all, they can just visualize, or they can just by intention create it. The next realm, the highest sensuous heaven, where these beings are they still have bodies, and they still have basically desires that are not completely, perfect. This is the Paranamita Vasavati, gods who control the creations of others. The highest of the 6 sensuous heavens is the Paranamita Vasavati, the realm of gods who bring under their sway things created by others. Incidentally, the god Mara, well known for opposing the Buddha and Arahats, lives in this realm. However, the ruler of this realm is a righteous king, Vasavati Deva. Mara and his retinue reside in a separate corner of the realm like a rebel leader. And Mara is a real guy. And Mara is actually another title of somebody who once they die, then another person takes the place of being the Mara. And he's somebody who wants nobody to attain enlightenment. He wants everybody to be sensuous, and he tries to create havoc wherever anybody is trying to meditate. He tries to talk them out of it. And of course, you know stories of where he's trying to talk the Buddha out of meditating or become enlightened, or maybe he shouldn't live as long. Maybe he shouldn't teach as many people. And it's constant. And the Buddha is always saying, I know you, Mara. I know you. I have seen you. And Mara disappears. It said in the book that these two realms, since there are the gods who control the creation of others, these are gods who actually have these lower gods as servants. The devas that create things answer to the gods that have others create things for them. So the highest thing is just basically telling the people around you to get you this. It's like a king. I want this, so create it. And so the servant gods, they do create it for them. So these are the 6 heavenly realms that can be attained through good merit. You don't have to meditate, following the precepts, living a good life. Fun facts about devas. Due to very subtle bodies, any angry outbursts can burn them, especially if the person is angry back at them, if they're also angry. So if a deva gets angry, they have to be very careful, because if the person that they get angry at gets angry back at them, that creates so much negative energy, they can actually die, because their bodies are so subtle at that point. So you want to be careful. There are male devas and female devis. Yes, they have sexual activity, which becomes more subtle as you go up. There is this course. There is course to hugging, and then finally holding hands. Holding hands is the ultimate. This is at the very highest realm of the sensuous heavens. You can hug and hold hands. And actually, in near-death experiences, I've read of people experiencing a realm where they hug each other, and it's just like this, getting together sensually. Some devas can be evil, but still in the deva realm, because of merit, they reside there. Anagamis are reborn in a special deva loka, the Sudavasa. Now, this is a realm that is, I'm not sure where exactly it is, but they have bodies, and where you'll find here coming up, the Brahma locus, there's no rule. The bodies are extremely subtle, and then in the Arupa jhanas, there are no bodies at all. But they are born in a special realm where there are only other anagamis and other arahats. And they are able to come back and visit into the human realm. And there's a story of the Buddha considering whether once he became enlightened, whether he wanted to come back or not, or start teaching or not. And the chief, actually, let's see, no, that might have been, I'm not sure if that was an anagami or not, but he came back down realizing that the Buddha was about to just go off and not teach. He came down to tell him that he had to teach. It was for the betterment of all mankind that he teaches. And the Buddha said, okay, I'll do it. The lowest devas are not much more than petas or yakas, which live on the earth but might live in trees. You might call them fairies or leprechauns. And you've heard stories of these things, of these kinds of beings, and they do exist in the Buddhist cosmology. You can find a lot about devas on the wiki itself. I read through this, and there is quite a bit of good information there. Location of the deva realms, I think, as I said, 4 kings are halfway up the mountain. The realm of 33 is on the top, and the rest above the mountain are at geometrically increasing heights. The height of a deva can be 8 to 12 yojanas high. A yojana is 12 miles. And so a deva can be 8 to 12 of those high. They're quite big guys. It wouldn't fit into our houses here. Okay. Now there is, in the suttas, there is a book called the Vimanavatu. And it's stories about how beings went to the heavens. It's somewhat repetitive, but I'll just give you one short one here. And Vimana is the mansion, the heavenly mansion. That means house. And so it's the stories of heavenly mansions from the Vinavatu. And this is a Sri Lankan translation here. And this is an interesting one. This is called 3.3 Couch Mansion, Moggallana Bhante. So Moggallana is talking here. He says, he asks a devata, "You are sitting on a very comfortable couch decorated with many jewels and gold and covered with flowers. While resting here, you can demonstrate your wide range of psychic powers. You are surrounded by many other goddesses who are singing, dancing, and entertaining you. You are very powerful. What good deed did you do in your previous human life? What is the reason that you are very beautiful and shine in all directions? The Devata. Bhante, in the human world, I was a daughter-in-law in a very wealthy family. I never got angry at my husband and was very obedient to him. I was dedicated to practicing the Dhamma and observed the 8 precepts happily 4 times a month on each of the 4 moon phases. From a very young age, I was an honest wife. I tried to please my husband by day and by night. I started following the precepts when I was very young. I abstained from killing beings, stealing, using intoxicants, and lying. My bodily conduct was very pure. I protected my celibate life well. I practiced virtue in an unbreakable way. I observed the 8 precepts 4 times a month on each of the phases and protected them happily. Observance of the 8 precepts 4 times a month brings great happiness to the mind. I follow the Noble Eightfold Path, which brings happy results. I was also obedient to my husband and acted in a pleasing way. I was a disciple of the Supreme Buddha from an early age. These were the meritorious deeds I did when I lived in the human realm. These specific deeds led me here to a rebirth in heaven. Now I am very powerful here. This delightful mansion is very beautiful. Many beautiful goddesses entertain me. I have been born in an excellent heaven where gods have long lifespans. And there's just like 100 of these stories, and they're all kind of the same thing. They just did some good merit. Some of them, they may have just given a gift to a monk, and as a result, they mansion. Just this one gift that they did one time propelled them upward, and it said that when you give a gift to a monk, if the monk is really, really pure, the gift becomes even more powerful. So, yeah, it may have been a gift to, Sariputta, Moggallana, or some Arahat or something like that. Was given in the proper way. That's a story of Manavata as part of the Suta, so you should kind of be aware that there is an entire Suta collection in the canon. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the Brahma locus. So you have the 6 heavens, the 6 sensuous heavens, but above that there are the Brahma locus. The Brahma locus are attained to through the meditation, by attaining jhana in this lifetime. Then at the time of death, you are reborn into one of these 16 Brahma lokas. So the first one is the first jhana loka. In it, it's broken up into 3 planes. The lowest is called the Brahma Paris Aja, or Brahma's retinue. And the second is called the Brahma Purohita, or Brahma's ministers. The highest of these 3 planes is the Maha Brahma, or great Brahmas. They are so called because they exceed others in happiness, beauty, and lifespan on account of their superior mental development. Those who develop the first jhana to a normal extent are reborn in the first plane. Those who have developed it to a medium degree are born in the second plane, while those who have perfect control of the first jhana are born as Maha Brahma. The 3 divisions of the other jhanic planes should be similarly understood. Now, the highest development of the first jhana is where you can make a determination here on, while you're a human, that you attain to the first jhana, and you attain that for, say, 17 minutes and 23 seconds, and then you come out of the jhana. So that's complete control of the jhana. The first level of jhana is where you've just attained the jhana, and that's all. You can't hold on to it or anything at all. It comes, and maybe even it comes one time. Even just one experience of jhana will at your death to the Brahma loka. You may not be at the highest part of the first jhana loka, but you'll still be in the Brahma loka, which is a heck of an accomplishment. The highest first jhana Brahma loka is where Brahma lives. Brahma is the chief. He surveys all of the realms below. He is the legends and the mythology and all of this. Brahma is maybe possibly what we think of as God. He got to the realm from so long ago that he's forgotten that he's actually not eternal, and he's forgotten that he thinks that he is eternal, and that he got there. And when he arrived, he was the first one there. And the Maha Brahma, let's just say, okay, so the world systems collapse at the end of a cycle. There's cycles, and they completely are destroyed below the second jhana realm. When they start to populate again, the first deva or Brahma into the lower realm is this Maha Brahma, and he goes there and he arises there, and there's nobody there. It's empty. And he really enjoys it, and he goes around for a while, and he likes it, and it's the first jhana realm. But then he thinks, I wish I had some people to be with me. And this is after some eons of time. And then some other beings come there, and they see him there, and they say, oh, you are, and how long have you been here? He says, I think I've been here forever. I just thought about you coming, you came, so I must have created you. So everybody thinks that he's like the God, that he created everything. And this has kind of gone out into other religions, possibly from the ancient Indian Buddhism, and also this is from the Indian literature as well. But it could be that he is the supreme creator God that we think of. But in fact, he really isn't. He hasn't created any of these things. And there's no story about where he creates things at all. These things are already here. The human realms, all the other realms are already here. So he hasn't created anything. He just thinks he has. So this is just the first jhana realms. Below these are all of the other realms. They're kind of in charge, yet they're not. I mean, but they watch. They notice what's going on in the lower realms. The second jhana realm, 3 planes of the second jhana. In order of mastery of the second jhana, the Brahmas of the second jhanic planes, the Pritabha, the gods of minor luster, the gods of infinite luster, and the gods of radiant luster. So again, just in the order of how well that you were able to get to that jhana. Another thing I could say about is, if let's say you attain jhana one time, then you would probably appear in the first half or the first third of that. If you were able to get back into jhana, which many meditators of course can, then you would probably be considered to be able to be in the second level. But again, if you were able to accomplish the determinations, then you would probably be in the higher part of that jhana. But if you were doing determinations, you probably have already done all of the jhanas anyway. So you wouldn't. Most of the meditators that we know here, that Bhante is teaching, most of them, fourth jhana is not a big deal, and most of them are way up into the arupa jhanas. So these lower levels we probably are not going to ever see. The third jhana realm. The planes of the third jhana in order of mastery, the Brahmas of the third jhanic planes are the gods of the minor aura, gods of infinite aura, and the gods of steady aura. There is not a lot of information about these planes. In fact, just each realm. In a sense, the first jhana realm is based on joy. The second jhana is a higher but more quiet joy, just like jhanas are explained. And if you think about it, the joy is very intense and it's constant. There is always joy, and your food is joy. There is no need for real food. You do have a body; it's extremely subtle. But if you think about it, it's almost as though it's like somebody who's very high on drugs and they're just completely enjoy all the time. I suppose it's very pure. Okay, so all right, third plane, third jhana realm, and we talked about that. Like I said, there's not a lot of information. The fourth jhana realm is kind of an interesting realm. So there's 7 planes of the fourth jhana. The planes of the fourth jhana are the Vahavala, the gods of great reward, the Asana Sata, this is a really strange one, the unconscious beings, and the 5 planes of Sudavasa, the pure abodes where anagamis or non-returners are reborn. Here again, depending on the predominant faculty, rebirth takes place as follows. The faculty of faith, this is the non-returner realms, the Sudavasa. The faculty of faith is Aviha, the durable heaven. This is then the faculty of effort, the Atapa, the serene heaven. The faculty of mindfulness, the Sudasa, the beautiful heaven. Faculty of concentration or Samadhi, Sudasi, the clear-sighted heaven. Faculty of wisdom, Akanita, the supreme heaven. So these are the 5 anagami realms. They're considered as part of the fourth jhana. And everybody here has attained anagami or have become arhats. The fourth jhana regular realms, there are, as it says here, the gods of the great rewards, but there's also the unconscious beings. Now, this is a place where, for a very, very long period of time, your mind is completely empty. And there is no thought, there's no consciousness, there's no nothing. You are just standing, your body is golden. You're surrounded by luxury, but you don't know it. And there are other beings that are taking care of your body while you're just sitting or standing there. You can stand there. The amount of time that you can be there is 500 Maha kappas. That's a lot of time. Now, but it is said by one of a being that was there. He said, "Well, it was just as though the light went off and the light came back on again, and I don't know what happened." And so, but through the power of concentration, and I think that this is regular concentration, absorption, or one-pointed concentration, that people will suppress thoughts to a very strong degree, and they'll push them down to the point where if there's any thought, they just bat it away with this powerful mind, and they achieve a jhana. But any mental object that comes up, even within the jhana that's wholesome, they remove and they eliminate with the power of their mind. And this is not good. This is suppressing hindrances. But they get to a point where it's not nirodha, it's not a cessation of mind, but there is simply no mental objects, and they've been suppressed. And it is a pleasant realm because there is no mind. There's nothing to be unhappy about, but there's no happiness either. There's just nothing. So it's better than being in the hell realms for 500 Mahakappas. But you got to wonder, if you just click out and then click back on, what's the whole point of that? It's a very strange realm. So that's part of that. But the other fourth jhana realms they're based on the fourth jhana, which is equanimity. So it's a very peaceful, balanced type of place. This is the overall feeling. So these are now the formless realms, the arupa Brahma realms, the 5th to the 8th jhana. Beings who practice tranquility meditation by passing beyond all form perceptions and attain arupa jhana or formless states of absorption are reborn in the formless realms, possessing mind only and no material quality at all. The 4 formless realms, according to their arupa jhanas, are I can't read all of that, the realm of infinite space, the realm of infinite consciousness, the realm of nothingness, the realm of neither perception nor non-perception. So these are the arupa realms. There is only 3 senses. That is sight, hearing, and touch. There is no smell, there is no taste, and you have no body. And if you think about that, there is actually no forms. If you think of your body as a form, that it has a form and has colors and forms, and that's why you can see it. There's no forms, then what is there? This is in the book, the monk who's written the book, he asks the question, what is this place? It's just mind. And I think if we think about when we're in that state of nothingness or infinite space, there is still stuff there. It isn't just nothing. So it's you're not moving. You don't have a body to go from here, this place to that place. It is simply you are there in your own little realm. And I don't know if there's other beings there. You can communicate with them or not. I think that's possible, but it's pretty much all speculation. So. Yeah, so this was one thing that Bhante talked about. If you attain, even for a moment, any of the jhanas, you will be reborn into the highest jhana realm you have attained due to the power of that merit. Here's a sutta. Just as a strong conch blower can easily send his signal to the 4 quarters, so too, when the liberation of mind by loving kindness is developed and cultivated in this way, any limited karma that was done does not remain there, does not persist there. This sutta indicates that the development and the attainment of any jhana of the Brahma viharas, loving kindness or compassion or joy or equanimity, will result in the overpowering of limited karma. That may be done in your everyday life. It is talking about actions that are routine, that can include breaking of precepts in any way. Attaining a jhana will overpower all of those results of those actions and lead you to a positive rebirth, at least in your next life. But beware of the one after that. So the power of that jhana will put you into the Brahma locus no matter what. Unless the only exception is if you've committed the 5 heinous crimes, which is killing mother or father, wounding a Buddha, causing a schism in the order, killing an arhat. And I don't think we're going to be doing much of that, so we don't have much fear of that. But other than that, all you have to do is anything that you've done in this lifetime is kind of pushed aside because of that power. Okay, so that's the higher heavens. So you have the 6 heavens, and then you have the Brahma locus that are above that. And they correspond to each of the jhanas. So now we're going to be talking about the lifespans and how long is long. We didn't talk about that for the hell beings or the petas, but we'll cover that now. So hell beings, animals, and petas do not have fixed lifespans. Their lifespan varies according to their individual karma. Some are short-lived, like the case of the monk Tisa, who was reborn as a flea on his new robe and expired after 7 days. Or the case of Queen Malika, who had to suffer 7 days in hell due to an immoral deed, but was reborn again as a celestial deva on account of her good karma. And I'll say that the flea, this monk Tisa did a small bad thing, and he was reborn as a flea on his new robe. And he expired. In other words, he died, and then after that, he went to the heaven realms. So he was only there for a week. And then Queen Malika, who had to suffer 7 days in the hell realm because of an immoral deed, but was reborn again as a celestial deva on account of all of the other good karma. See, these people have not attained jhana, so they're still at they have the possibility of falling at the time of death into a hell realm just because of one bad deed. But it may not last very long because the power of all their other deeds pushes that aside. On the other hand, Devadatta had to suffer in a Vichi hell for an eon for his weighty bad karma of causing a schism in the Sangha. And he also wounded the Buddha when he had the elephant rolled the rock down the Buddha's ankle. I believe it bled a little bit. Devadatta was, he's the ultimate bad guy, and he's going to be in the Avicii hell, which is the lowest hell for a very long time. Now, human beings also do not have fixed lifespans. And I'll go back to the hell realms. Since beings are not creating any merit, they are not creating any possibility of getting out of those realms. If you're if you're a lion and you're eating everybody up for meals, well, you're certainly not performing any merit. And what you're doing is you're performing demerit. And so you're pushing yourself down. And the more demerit that you make, the more you spin downwards into the lower realms, and you just never have much of a chance to get out. It may be after some eon of time, a good merit from some long ago past life arises, and you do have a chance to get out of the hell realm. But even then, you're reborn as a poor person in a poor household, in a poor place. You're sickly, and your life isn't very long. And if you can make it out of that and try to do some merit, then you do have a chance of finally getting out of the cycle and moving up into the higher realms. But again, even if your merit gets you to the higher realms, unless you're doing your 6 Rs and you're doing your Brahma Viharas and attaining Nibbana, then you're likely to fall right back down again. Okay, human beings also do not have fixed lifespans. The age limit rises from 10 years to an exceedingly great age, and then falls back to 10 years again. According to the Chronicle of the Buddhas, the Buddha Vamsa, the lifespan of humans in the present world cycle was 40,000 years at the time of the Kakusanda Buddha, 30,000 years at the time of Gamana Buddha, 20,000 years at the time of Kassapa Buddha, and 80 to 100 years at the time of Gautama Buddha. Although the earthbound deities and the degraded asuras both belong to the Katuma or Ajika plane, they too do not have fixed lifespans. Lifespan of human go from 10 years old or 10 years up to 100,000 years. And then because of immorality, it can go right back down again. And it cycles down, back and down again a number of times over a world cycle. Devas and Brahmas and celestial planes have fixed lifespans. Their merit has a fixed amount of time that they can spend there. The lifespan of the celestial devas. So the Katumara which is the 4 kings, their lifespan is 500 deva years. The human years per deva day, so each day in the deva realm is 50 human years. So that would mean that 500 deva years is equal to 9 million human years. The Tavatimsa, 36 million human years. the Yama 144 million, the Tusita 576 million years. So the Buddha that is there, he will be there nearly 500 million years before he comes back to the human realm. And then above that, it just gets bigger and bigger. 2314, 2.3 billion, 9.2 billion years at the highest of the sensual realms. But that's nothing. Let's look at the Brahma locus. Well, I guess at some point we will. Okay. All right, this goes through a calculation of how to get to, it's just taking the human days and calculating to lifespans of the days, and you already know that, so it's okay. Actually, I noticed one thing here. How long did the Buddha preach to his mother in heaven? According to the text, Lord Buddha preached to his mother in Tavatimsa heaven continuously for 3 months without stopping. No human beings would be able to listen to the whole sermon without a break. But as 100 years on earth is just 1 day in Tavatimsa, 3 months on earth is only 3.6 minutes in Tavatimsa. To the gods, it would be a shorter discourse. They would have no difficulty listening attentively to it. But 3 months is only 3.6 minutes in Tavatimsa. And there's a story about a very meritorious lady who died finally because her merit expired. She went to the human realm, and it's actually Siramana. She went to the human realm, and she lived a full life of 100 years. She kept the precepts, and she remembered that she had been in the heaven of the 33, and she made a goal to get back there to her husband in the heaven, that heavenly realm. And she lived 100 years, did all the good things, and then she died. And then she reappeared in the heaven of the 33, in the very place that she died. And he said, "Oh, you've been gone for the morning. I see that you're back. Where were you?" And she explained, "Well, I was reborn as a, and I had many children, and I was a grandmother, and I made the determination to come back, and here I am." And so there she was. She was only gone for the morning and was back in the afternoon in the Tavatimsa. Okay, so in the jhana realms, in the Brahma's retinue, it's 1/3 of an incalculable epoch. An epoch is a Maha kappa. That is it's a 1 and 560 zeros. That is 1 Maha kappa, and this is 1/3 of a Maha kappa. The Brahma's ministers, 1/2. The great Brahma is 1 Maha kappa, and this is the first jhana. So this is far, far greater than the sensuous heavenly realms. This is there's a lot of zeros. There is no numbers that match those things that are in language. The second jhana, 2 mahakappas, 4 mahakappas, and 8 mahakappas. And the third jhana up to 64 mahakappas. The fourth jhana, 500 mahakappas. Unconscious beings, like I said, 500. The 5 pure abodes, the Sudavasa, like I was talking about, where the anagamis are, there's 5 of those. The first one is 1,000 mahakappas on up to 16,000 mahakappas. The arupa, now above that, there are the arupa jhanas. These are 20,000 mahakappas, and 40,000, 60,000, up to 84,000 mahakappas. And I did a little calculation. The number of zeros would be equal to a 1 and 60 miles of zeros. That's how long these time periods are. Let's see, I may have already talked about this. So the great eon or world cycle, this is called a Maha kappa, the incalculable eon or epoch. This is an asankaya, or an interim. It means interim kappa. Included eon or era is called an antara kappa. The human lifespan is considered ayu kappa. That's the period of time that you can be a human. I think we've already talked about. Okay. So the Maha kappa is broken up into 4 time cycles. They're distinguished as the great eon or the Maha kappa, an incalculable eon, an asankaya kappa, an included eon or antara kappa, and a lifespan kappa. Let's see. Hopefully this will explain here. Yeah, a Maha kappa is generally taken to mean a world cycle. How long is a world cycle? In the Samyutta, the Buddha used the parables of the hill and mustard seed for comparison. Suppose there was a solid mass of rock or hill, 1 yojana, 8 miles wide. Oh, it's 8 miles. Sorry, it's 12 kilometers and 8 miles wide. 1 yojana across and 1 yojana. 300 years, a man was to stroke it once with a piece of silk. That mass of rock would be worn away and ended sooner than would an eon or Maha kappa. Suppose there was a city of iron walls, 1 yojana in length, 1 yojana in width, 1 yojana high, and filled with mustard seeds to the brim. There, if a man was to take out every 100 years a mustard seed, that great pile of mustard seeds would be emptied and ended sooner than would be an eon. Excuse me. How long time eons in the past? In other words, how long has samsara been going? According to the Buddha, so long, brother, is an eon. And of eons thus long, more than one has passed. More than 100 have passed. More than 1,000. More than 100,000. How is this? Incalculable is the beginning, brother, of this faring on. The earliest point is not revealed of the running on, the faring on of beings cloaked in ignorance, tied to craving. This is the Asankaya kappa. According to the Anguttara, to section 142, there are 4 periods called incalculable epochs, asankayas, within a great eon or world cycle. The duration of each of these epochs cannot be enumerated, even by taking hundreds of thousands locks of years as a unit, hence the name incalculable eon. These 4 incalculable epochs are: the first part of the world cycle is called the enveloping epoch, a period of destruction or dissolution of the world system. In the Sun Discourse, in the Anguttara, the Buddha described the destruction of the world by fire that even reaches the realm of great Brahma. It commences with the falling of the great rain and terminates with the extinction of flames, if the world system is to be dissolved by fire, or the receding of floods, if dissolved by water, or the cessation of storms, if dissolved by air. So this is the first period. It's kind of the final period of the Maha kappa, the destruction of that Maha kappa, the disintegration, and that the world cycle that we are in will be destroyed by fire. And it's interesting because it appears that the story from the book is that there will be many thousands, hundreds of thousands of years from now, the world will go into a very much of a drought situation. There will not be any rain. And beings will start to die. And beings in the Deva realm see this happening. And they go down to the human realm. And they tell everybody to start doing meritorious actions and start following precepts. Because if they don't, they will die and they'll go into the hell realms. And because they have lost their morality, all of this is starting to happen. There's no rain, it's hot, and they need to practice morality so that when they die, they can go to the Brahma locus and try to get away from this destruction of the world cycle. The Devas know that the destruction of the world is coming, and so they go to warn them. And they say that by getting out of there is you have to follow your precepts, and when you die, then you will be reborn into the heavenly realms. But some people still don't listen, and they just don't do anything, and then they are reborn into the lower realms, because you won't be able to be reborn. They are reborn into lower realms, but not in this world system. There are many world systems. There's multiple world systems. As a matter of fact, thousands and hundreds of thousands of each, inclusive of the 31 planes of existence. It's like there's many solar systems. You might say that there would be many solar systems in the same way there's many world systems. And these beings that don't do their morality, they can't be reborn in the hell realm in this world system, because it gets destroyed by flames. And so they are reborn into a hell realm in another world system. That's the way it's described. And if you think about it, we know that probably 1 billion or 2 billion years from now, that our sun will become a supernova, and it will expand outward, and the Earth and the planets will heat up and will eventually burn up, and then it will become a supernova and explode, and everything in the solar system will be sucked into it, and it'll disappear, and it will be destroyed by fire. And so if you look at today's science, it may be that we're talking about the star of that world system going into a supernova. That's interesting speculation. The second part of the Maha kappa is when the world system is completely destroyed or stable. This is the period beginning from the moment of dissolution of the world by fire, water, or the air element, until the falling of the great rain that heralds the evolution of a new world. The third part of the epoch is a period of evolution. This is the period beginning from the falling of the great rain that heralds the evolution of a new world to the appearance of the sun, moon, stars, and planets. And there's a lot you can read about how they all come back. And the beings from the upper realms start to appear in the lower realms. In other words, the beings from the second jhana realm, the Maha Brahma appears in the first jhana realm. And then from there, beings now start, because of their morality, starts to fall a little bit. They start to fall into the heavenly realms. And then the heavenly realms, the beings there forget about morality, and they fall into the earth realm, and they become human beings. And they gradually go down, down, and down, and they start not keeping their precepts, and they become regular human beings just like us, who are for the most part not keeping any precepts. But there's all kinds of different levels of falling. You know, there's beings from the Brahma locus flying around the earth and in this bliss, but they're on the earth, they're not in their realms. And then gradually their lifespans go down, and then they start to get interested in the earth, and they go down to the earth, and there's this rice that seems to be on the water or in the earth, depending on what story you read, and they eat some of that, and they go, oh, this is very good, and that rice just keeps them fed, and then but their morality starts to fall, and then the rice starts to disappear, and it's a very interesting story. Then, period of evolution. Okay, then the developed epoch, period of continuance after having been reinstated. This is the period beginning from the appearance of the sun, moon, and stars to the falling of the great rain that heralds the dissolution of the world. So in this developing epoch, this is where we are. This is where the world is expanding, and it's getting better, and there's life. This is where it starts to fall again. So there's 4 parts. There is the void. It expands where there's life, and then it stops for an epoch, and then it's destroyed, and then it starts over again. And many scientists today have actually come up with the same theory, that this Big Bang may not have been the way that it happened, but it was actually more of a cycle of worlds coming into existence and then disappearing and then coming into existence again. For example, we know that the universe is expanding right now. That's a fact. And in the Buddhist system, it says in this developing epoch, it is expanding. And we know that once it expands, there may be a point, we don't know, but the physicists say that there may be a point where it stops expanding and it just goes into a void, and everything is just stable and solid for a period of time. And then it starts to come back in, and the expansion turns into contraction, and then it comes back, and it actually goes right back into on itself. So who knows what happens, but it goes back into the destruction of the entire world system. During the developed epoch, human lifespan can increase or decrease depending on their morality. When morality is on the rise, human lifespan increases till it reaches an exceedingly great age of 80,000 years at the peak of human morality. When immorality prevails, human lifespan decreases till it reaches a minimum of 10 years at the base of human bestiality. Details of these two periods of increase and decrease in human lifespan are found in the Kakavati Siyananda Suta of the Digha Nikaya. The duration of one cycle in which the lifespan of humans rises from 10 years to an exceeding great age and then falls to 10 years again is called the Antara Kappa, or the included era. So how long is the included era? In the Manual of Cosmic Order, the Venerable Ledi Sayadaw used the sands of the Ganges for comparison. If a man were to count the number of years by the grains of sand picked up one by one from the league of the Ganges, the sands would be exhausted sooner than the years of included era were all counted. At the completion of 64 included eras, the developed epoch comes to an end. Since there are no living beings in the human and celestial realms, during the other three epochs, they are not reckoned in terms of included eras, but as all four incalculable epochs are of the same duration, the commentaries equate one incalculable epoch, Asankaya Kappa, with the 64 included eras. So the Asankaya is broken up into 64 included eras. In some Pali texts, one incalculable epoch is quoted as containing either 64 or 20 included eras. This is because there is another type of included era reckoned in terms of lifespan in Avicii hell, that is 1/80th of a world cycle, or 1/20th of an incalculable epoch. In this way, we can assume that one incalculable epoch is equal to 64 included eras of human beings, or 20 included eras of Avicii hell beings. A lot of numbers. This is, the human lifespan. The Pali word ayu kappa literally means life cycle or a lifespan. If the lifespan is 100 years, then an ayu kappa is 1 century. If lifespan is 1,000 years, then ayu kappa is 1 millennium. When the Buddha said, Ananda, I have developed the 4 iddhipadas, basis of psychic power. If I so desire, I can live either a whole kappa or a little more than a kappa. The kappa should be taken to mean ayu kappa, the lifespan of humans, which was 100 years during that period. This is the interpretation provided by the commentaries on the statement of the Buddha taken from the Maha Parinibbana Sutta. Some people think that, when the Buddha asked Ananda if he should stick around, and Ananda just didn't hear it, and it was the third time the Buddha said, I can live to extend my life to the eon. What the Buddha meant was he could live another 20 years from 80. He wasn't going to live another billion years through 64 included eons. So that's one misinterpretation. But the Buddha was telling Ananda, if Ananda asked him to, he would stay around another 20 years. But Ananda, because of Mara made his mind disturbed, and Ananda just didn't even get it. He heard it, but he didn't get it. But later on, Ananda realized what he'd done, and he went back to the Buddha, and the Buddha said, "I'm sorry, you get one chance at this, and you had it, and you missed it, so I'm leaving." The world cycles when the Buddhas appear. An eon or world cycle in which, I got this thing in the way here, in which there is no, called a empty or void eon. An eon in which one or more Buddhas appear is called a Buddha kappa. By the word kappa, standing alone, a Maha kappa is meant. There are 5 types of Buddha kappas, namely the Sara kappa, in which one Buddha appears, the Manda kappa, in which 2 Buddhas appear, the Vara kappa, in which 3 Buddhas appear, the Saramanda kappa, in which 4 Buddhas appear, the Bada kappa, in which 5 Buddhas appear. The present kappa is Bada, auspicious kappa. Of its 5 Buddhas, 4 have appeared, namely Kakusanda, Kanagamana, Kassapa, and Gotama. The 5th Mattaya has yet to appear. The interval of time that elapses between one Buddha kappa and the next can vary from 1 kappa to 1 asankaya, or many kappas. Asankaya literally means innumerable, while Childer's Pali Dictionary defines asankaya as the highest of the numerals, 10 to the 140th power, 1 followed by 140 zeros. An asankaya of kappas, 10 to the 140th, or the innumerable number of world cycles, is a mind-boggling time period that defies the imagination. A Maha kappa is 4 times an asankaya, which is 10 and 560 zeros. If you are reborn into the realm of neither perception, which is 84,000 Maha kappas, this would be 84,000 times 10 with 560 zeros. This is a number that 10 is followed by 60 miles of zeros. I calculated it in an Excel file using 12-point fonts. And that is it.
Wants to share merit with me? That would be great. May suffering ones
be suffering free,
and the
fear-struck fearless be.
May
the grieving shed all grief,
and may
all beings find relief.
May
all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, negas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.